This is an exciting time for Durham in many ways, including this one reason in particular. Durhamites will have a chance in May to vote on special projects they'd like to see happen in their own communities. This process is called participatory budgeting and is new in Durham. From your ideas to your vote, now is the time for you to be active in the democratic process to help shape your community's future in Durham. Welcome to City Life. I'm Beverly Thompson. Joining me to talk about all things participatory budgeting are Budget Engagement Manager Andrew Holland and Budget Engagement Coordinator Robin Baker. Welcome, and thank you both for joining me.
Thank you.
So, Andrew, let's get started with you. What is participatory budgeting?
Well, participatory budgeting, also known as PB, is a democratic process in which residents are allowed to decide how to spend the public's budget. So in the case of Durham, there was $2.4 million that was allocated, and there are 3 wards, and each ward's allocated $800,000. So the purpose is to ensure that residents have the opportunity to decide how to spend the public's budget.
Well, that's interesting. Robin, where did participatory budgeting, or where did the idea of it even come up?
Yeah, so participatory budgeting originated in Brazil in the late 80s. And so it has this kind of origins in the U.S. in Chicago in 2009, when they adopted PB to increase engagement with their residents in the local government decision-making process. And so other municipalities such as New York, Seattle, and Vallejo, as well as Durham, have implemented PB in the hopes of increasing participation and engagement, with us emphasizing on ensuring that we have engagement with underrepresented and underserved groups.
Okay, all right. So Andrew, how in the world did it take hold in Durham? I mean, it doesn't really seem like it's that popular of a concept across the country, with only, a few cities even doing it. But why did it seem like it was such a good fit for Durham?
Well, it all started with our community stakeholders. There was a lot of interest to ensure that our residents had an opportunity to decide how to spend the public's budget. And it's important to note that the nonprofit organization Durham for All, this organization was the organization that spearheaded just getting the word out about PB Durham. It's also important to note that our Mayor Pro Tem, Jillian Johnson, she was instrumental in ushering in PB Durham, and to also make the City Council aware of this program.
Okay. So you mentioned her. Is she the person who ultimately decided that Durham would do this and lead the effort?
Well, I think she was very instrumental in starting the conversation. And of course, there had to be some buy-in from City Council, of course. And in May, they did vote and adopt PB. So we are excited to implement this process, and we're excited that she was very instrumental in bringing this forward to the city.
So who is leading the effort? Is there a steering committee?
Yes, the PB steering committee. Yes, the PB steering committee was appointed by City Council. So there's 15 members. So there are 5 members per ward. So altogether there are 3 wards. And they are very instrumental in ensuring that the PB process is implemented effectively and efficiently. I would say, I think it was last October, they had the huge task of creating guidelines, which was really the foundation of PB Durham. And they wanted to ensure that the PB process was inclusive, that it was transparent, and ultimately empower residents to get involved in the PB process.
So Robin, I think it would seem to so many people that there's so many pressing needs here in Durham. How do you answer people who say that other projects perhaps should have taken precedence over PB Durham? I mean, looking at the budget that you have and the staff that is taking, how do you justify it?
Yeah. So I think that's a really good question. And to that, I would say, I think that the city of Durham does a really good job of focusing on multiple efforts surrounded around a common goal. And I think our strategic plan really lays out the pillars and kind of the overall pathway that the city is going to. And I'll say that I think that affordable housing, justice involved residents, as well as participatory budgeting all have a central focus in increasing engagement and ensuring that the city of Durham is operating as a high innovative organization. So I think that participatory budgeting really allows residents to not only learn about decision making around the local budget, but the local government processes at large. Through this process, they are able to understand the strategic plan and other initiatives going on in the city. So I really feel like participatory budgeting is a great gateway for involvement in other activities going on in the city.
Makes a lot of sense. So what kind of projects are we talking about? I mean, are these ongoing projects or one-time projects, or does it span the realm?
Yes, so the PB projects are mainly one-time projects, and that was, of course, intentional. And those one-time projects are more the physical infrastructure type projects. It can include community technological enhancements at community centers and also schools. And we just wanted to make sure that residents understood those guidelines because we wanted to ensure that the projects that were submitted were one-time projects and it did not include any additional staff.
So just to be clear, a one-time project doesn't mean that it doesn't require maintenance. It doesn't require ongoing efforts to ensure that it serves everybody. It's just what is a one-time project?
It's really the one-time expenditure.
Okay.
There may be some ongoing costs associated, but it's nothing that is major.
Okay.
So I think the key is we just wanted to make sure it's a one-time expenditure and there would be no additional staff needed.
Okay. All right. So Robin, talk to me a little bit about the process. How exactly does participatory budgeting work?
Right. So participatory budgeting typically has 4 phases.
Okay.
So the PB Durham cycle is a 2-year cycle, meaning phases 1 through 3 occur in the first fiscal year, and the last phase occurs in the second fiscal year. So on November 1st, PB Durham launched with idea collection, which is the first phase of participatory budgeting. And so during that phase, we received over 500 ideas from residents and students from the community.
That's a lot.
On how they want to improve their community using the $800,000 per ward. And so from that, the next phase was proposal development, where we received applications over 100. And so we had over 100 students and residents work with internal staff as well as PB implementation team and our steering committee to vet the projects for feasibility, impact, and equity. And so from January to April, that is what our delegates have been doing. And so now we have approximately 40 project proposals that are going to go to a public vote in May. And so that is our big push right now, is we are gearing up to launch our first ever public PB voting election. And so during that entire month, residents will have the opportunity to directly decide what projects are going to be implemented to improve their communities. And then the 4th phase is implementation and evaluation. So the winning projects from the election in May will be implemented the following fiscal year, which is FY20.
So I have to tell you, I'm amazed. How in the world do you get students to be interested in something like this? I mean, it seems so, I won't say not part of their lives, but students I know are more interested in what game they're going to buy next rather than what, say, bus shelter is going to be built and where. So how in the world do you get students to participate?
Yeah, I think it is really about the kind of the climate, right? I think this is a really good time for advocacy as well as involvement in local government. And so we've been really lucky to partner with Durham Public Schools, Durham Tech, North Carolina Central University, and integrate PB into the curriculum of civics classes so students can understand that civic participation is essential to being an American citizen. And this is a way that you can exercise that or learn about local government before you turn 18. And so we've found success in that students want to contribute and we're looking for an opportunity for their voices to be heard. And so we had a youth PB jam session, and that was our most successful event. And so we had over 50 students come in and submit ideas on, some of those are going to be on the ballot in May. So we're really looking forward to it.
That is awesome. And what were the ages of the students?
13 to 17.
Wow, incredible.
Right.
You to be congratulated just for that. I mean, that is wonderful. So Andrew, did there seem to be the type of public interest that you thought there would be and the kind of input for meaningful kinds of projects?
Yes, and I believe Robin, she alluded to this. Again, we had over 550 ideas submitted, which is very successful, especially this is our first time implementing PB. We had several community events in which that consisted of residents coming out to different PB Jam sessions to brainstorm and also to submit project ideas. We also went out and had pop-up events where we went to grocery stores and we met the folks where they were at. So I think that was very important, especially when it came to our communication and outreach plan. So I would definitely say that there was a lot of interest, and we want to ensure that that interest and momentum is being moved forward to voting in May.
So what kind of projects did these ideas fall under? I mean, what kind of categories, I guess I might ask, did it cover?
So there were 6 central categories. We have arts and culture, parks and recreation, health and wellness, safety and environment, streets and sidewalks, and then other, which was kind of our hodgepodge of things that didn't fit in the other 5. And so from those categories on the ballot, you'll see everything from park improvements to street improvements, bus shelters, traffic calming measures, as well as some expansions of youth programs such as a STEM program, as well as the Life Center is looking to expand their program with youth involvement. So you'll see a wide variety of projects, I think, that really can speak to every Durham resident in some way.
Amazing. That sounds great. So how do we vote on the projects?
Okay, well, starting in May, residents will have the opportunity to vote online. They can go to ppdurham.org and cast their vote by using the PP Stanford voting online platform. Also, we are going to have several voting sites throughout the city of Durham. Just want to shout out our partners, North Carolina Central, Durham Tech, the Durham Housing Authority, and many other organizations have partnered with us to have voting sites at their locations. And last, we're going to have pop-up voting sites where we're going to go to the grocery stores, we're going to go to banks, and to have voting there where we're going to meet the folks where they're at. So I think that's important. And I think the key is to make sure that we provide as many opportunities for our residents to vote.
Okay. So in the end, how will we know which projects were chosen and what the implementation process would be like?
So winning projects will be announced in June of this year.
Okay.
And so you'll find out very soon. And after that, the projects will be funded in the budget fiscal year 20.
Okay.
And so implementation will begin that fiscal year. So we hope to have 50% of the winning projects implemented by the first fiscal year. And so what that means is pre-construction, construction, design, all that will occur during that time.
You guys have done some amazing work. I mean, this is just awesome. So in the end, what will success for this program look like?
Well, Beverly, I think that's a great question. And I think it's important to go back to the goals and the values that our PB Steering Committee put forth. Just ensuring that the process is inclusive, it's equitable, and also we are empowering residents to be part of this democratic process. As Robin stated before, we were extremely successful during the ideal collection phase where we received over 550 project ideas. And that included residents from diverse backgrounds who participated. And even in the proposal development phase, we had a very diverse group of residents, volunteers to help out. So again, we want to ensure that we continue that momentum into voting in May. And we are excited, and we're pretty confident that not only we would be successful, but also the community of Durham would be successful.
Well, it sounds like the process is as important as the outcome for a project like this.
Absolutely. And again, this is a grassroots effort. It really begins with ensuring that our residents, specifically our residents from the more marginalized communities, are involved and ensure that they have a voice. And we just wanted to make sure that we created as many opportunities for them to submit ideas, to hear them out, and give them the opportunity to work closely with our internal staff on developing these projects.
So Robin, what is the long-term plan for participatory budgeting in Durham?
I'll say long term, we hope that we are successful and hit our goal of 10,000 voters this May, and City Council will see that the community is very receptive and open of participatory budgeting and allocate additional funds for the implementation of more projects for our cycle 2. So we really see implementation evaluation. We're going to work with our budget delegates as well as our steering committee to learn from cycle 1 and redesign and improve for cycle 2, which will occur in fall 2020.
Okay, all right. So again, we want to remind everybody that the participatory budgeting website is pbdurham.org, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else either of you would like to add about this whole process and about the importance of people voting?
Yes, I would like to thank the residents of Durham for participating in this process. As I stated before, voting will occur in May, so please check out our website, go to pbdurham.org to learn more about voting and to find out the voting sites near your community.
Wow, great information to share. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that does it for City Life. Don't forget to follow us on social media, watch us on Durham Television Network and on YouTube, and listen to our podcast on iTunes. I'm Beverly Thompson. Thank you for joining me to learn more about City Life in Durham.